This is the NFL show to be named later.
Foosball and whatever you call it with them gargantuans.
Starring TJ Weber, Zach Zook, and Big Web. Brought to you by Brews on the Balcony.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the NFL show to be named later as we are headed in to the first week of the playoffs here now in 2019. We got Big Web on the phone. We got Zach Zook to my left with now 4 microphones in this place. I mean, this bitch is rocking now. Look at this thing.
If you haven't seen it already on Instagram, did you make it a story or is it actually a post on the account?
It's an actual post.
You got to go see it. It's night and day in here. This place looks sick.
Yeah, I did it all myself, too. You know, usually Laura takes the credit for cleaning this place up, or Nick, honestly. And I did it all myself while I was on my break from work, and I was able to kind of, just spruce it up a little bit.
Nick takes credit for cleaning up in here?
Well, sometimes he like to pick one thing up, set it to the side, and go, "Oh, look, I cleaned this place up." And I go, "Well, yeah, whatever, dude."
That sounds pretty on brand for Nick.
Right.
And it's got a little Fortnite flavor in there too. I dipped into that pond last week.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that, go on Balcony Brews Pod on all social media, especially on Twitter. We almost got 1,000 views now on that video of Big Web playing Fortnite. I would want to say, Dad, I knew he wasn't going to hold his tongue. He said, I'm surprised I cuss so much. I go, really? You're surprised by that? But it was it was gold, and you did all right. I mean, you decided you figured out how to shoot a gun after about 4 games, so I was proud of you. I thought it was going to take you at least 10.
You can only do so much with an axe, especially when everybody else has a gun. But I actually had people at work talking about that today, and I'm like, oh my God, where'd you? So everybody's watching, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's becoming a thing of its own. I mean, the Fortnite stuff's huge. So
Fortnite content is so viral.
Oh
it's
my
ridiculous.
God. And then
just put a hashtag Fortnite by it.
And then I added in parents playing Fortnite, and then it exploded. Everybody wants to see the parents that don't know shit about the game play the game and react to it. We had another idea. People have already texted me saying, "Hey, you got to get your great Aunt Rainey on there and have her do it, and have her play and have whoever else play, and just keep adding different people."
You need to have them. Now that we have 4 mics in here, well, that'd be really hard to get 4 consoles in the same place, but you would have to make them all squad up. That would be
fun.
Something to see.
That would be fun if we could get all cameras on that.
Right.
Maybe when we get the house, that's our.
I was about to say
thing.
that'd be pretty tough logistically to pull off. You need, 4 systems to do it, but yeah.
Interesting. That's a good idea.
That would be hilarious. Big Web and a bunch of older people playing some Fortnite.
No, he's okay. You see how he did that? Big Web and a bunch of older people. He's not calling you an older person.
and Big Web, that's not even a diss. That's just factual. You are older than me.
That is true.
Yeah, you're right, sir. You are right. More experience.
So if you want to see any more of that great content, you can follow us at Balcony Brews Pod. We are part of the Brews on the Balcony podcast family. As we now, boys, it's kind of sad, but it's also exciting. As we end the regular season, we now move into week 1 of the playoffs, and it was a good week 17. I tell you what, the early games especially if you're out of the fantasy football, playoffs, if your playoffs ended in week 16, if you weren't playing DraftKings, if you weren't betting on the games, it was a pretty boring week for you at noon because not much was going on. But the 3 o'clock games, things were heating up. Teams they had to win. Some won, some didn't. Philly, all of a sudden, comes out of nowhere. They thought they were going to go 500, and they still make the playoffs somehow. Maybe less than 500, to be honest. Nick Foles. By the way, I'm going to give a hot take real quick. If you're sitting there as the Philadelphia Eagles front office or the fans or anything, if you see Nick Foles, if he somehow gets that energy and somehow pulls them out like he did at the end of the regular season and leads them to the Super Bowl. If they win 2 Super Bowls in a row with this guy, Carson Wentz has to be gone. He has to be gone.
We talked about that a little bit, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Right when Wentz was injured. And
that was my hot take. I said if they make the playoffs and he goes to the Super Bowl and wins, how do you not start him next year?
He's having one of the greatest, I guess it's about a calendar year now, one of the greatest year-long stretches that we've ever seen in NFL history. It's just,
oh my God,
it's so remarkable. I can't believe it. I doubt him every week, and then he goes and wins another game. It's just absolutely insane.
Well, how about a backup quarterback who, like Chase Daniel? We always talk about Chase Daniel. Look at all the money he's made just holding a clipboard. Well, now you got a guy holding a clipboard for 2 years and playing at the end of each season and getting all the glory also, man.
Dude, and
he's lived the dream.
He almost retired when he was in St. Louis. He said he was done. After he went to St. Louis, he almost hung it up, and he went to a Super Bowl and now has a chance to possibly make another run. People are saying, oh, shut up. It's definitely different playoffs, and I know they're the underdog, but still, they have a shot. They were dead. They had nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and they are playing a Chicago team that hasn't been there before, so yeah, I don't know.
Anything can happen, man. And plus, it's different from last year because Wentz, I felt bad for Wentz last year because Wentz led them there, got hurt late, and then Foles took over and did great. This year, the Wentz Eagles weren't doing too well. Wentz goes down, and then Foles carries them to the playoffs.
Well, and so Foles is 2-0 now, the last couple games.
Yeah, I mean,
Plus
that's what
had the
I'm
win at the beginning of the season. He's accountable for 3 of the Eagles' wins so far this season, which isn't a small percentage.
No.
Yep.
Big Web, you got anything?
That's all I got. I'm with you guys. I'm agreeing, and it's all good. It's a miracle, and we'll talk about it here in a little bit. I don't know how Philly's going to do this week, but we'll talk about it here in a little bit.
All right. Again, we'll get to your picks. Let's go ahead and give you guys the full rundown of Week 17 and after the regular season where we sit. Again, all the games in the playoffs, including the Super Bowl, will be picked, and it's going to come all the way down to the last one. I really, truly believe it will come down to the very end. It's getting a lot of fun, boys. I mean, honestly, I was shocked when I saw how close it was. I thought someone was going to run away with it. We have the top guy, Blake Stumpf, 136 points. And currently in fourth place is me at 130. So you got first and fourth separated by just 6 games. Plenty of games still to go in the playoffs. Last week, Blake had 11, which led the way. I keep going back to week 1. They should put week 17 at the very front because that's the most recent. He had 13 last week. 13 wins, which is actually the most of anybody this season. So hats off to Blake. That was pretty impressive. Mark Kessler had 11. So did me. I had 11 as well. 12 for Jordan Shrimp. 12 for Gigi Evans. 10 for Joe Knoll. 12 for Laura Weber, the wife coming out of nowhere and doing great. She didn't pick last week. She's now pickless in 2 different weeks. And Andrew Sherping has 10. We had a lot of double-digit pickers this week. I mean, very impressive stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, in Week 17, such a crapshoot, too, as you guys did a really good job of explaining on last week's show with Nick filling in and Big Web in studio, which, by the way, Big Web, solid performance last week, buddy.
Thank you.
But you guys did a good job of illustrating just what a crapshoot Week 17 is because you never know if they're going to start, if they're not. And then even if they do start, there's several teams that are liable to call the dogs off after a quarter, after a half, what have you. It really is just a tough week, and we had a lot of high scores.
Yeah, some teams came to play that you thought were going to rest, and others did go ahead and rest, like New Orleans, like we expected. But some of the teams they went ahead and played, and it shocked me that some people were on the field last week. But that's what you get in this topsy-turvy league.
Yeah, and honestly, what gets you too is, you got players like Christian McCaffrey, and this would have hurt you too if you played daily fantasy last week. But McCaffrey was supposed to play the entire game, or there was nothing saying that he was going to be out at all. And he played 1 quarter, totally healthy, and they took him out because they were winning so well. They said, why get this guy hurt? We're out of the playoffs. Like, who gives a shit? So they took him out. But that changed a lot. Carolina still rolled, but take out one of the best running backs in the league this year. And then fantasy implications, if you put all your money in DraftKings on McCaffrey, he was like $9,500 just to get him as a running back.
Dang.
That's pretty expensive to be out for the first quarter. So a lot of things changed up. If we go to the standings after the regular season for the panel, let's start at the bottom. Drum roll, please. Big Web, now at the bottom at 119. He's behind Zach Zook, who passed him last week going into the playoffs. Dad, your thoughts? Wow.
I'll go back to what I said 3 weeks ago. I can pick games, but not every game.
Me too, Big Web. Me too.
You guys are still very close. Zach's got 120. He's 1 up on Big Web. And then there's just the king. You just can't stop me. I'm 10 up, 11 up on Big Web. You guys might as well just stop. I got the panel. I got the crown for the week. I got the crown for the season.
Oh, my God.
No big deal. I'll get a crown for the playoffs as well. But, I'm at 130. Zach 120. Big Web 119. Overall, boys, pretty good regular season of picking. It was a back-and-forth season. To me, one of the hardest seasons I've been a part of picking-wise, like picking certain games. And we all had our strengths, Zach, until he went 0-6 straight. Did you hit last week, by the way?
I did.
You did.
I finally got
Boom.
off the schneid.
9-8, over 500.
I'm about to go on another run
Congratulations.
and get out the rest of the year clean.
So
That's the
besides
plan.
that, Zach had a great run of locks. So did Big Web. But Dad's also above 500 on his best 4 plays, which, Dad, how'd you do last week? Again, this is my I had to work today, didn't get a chance to break down the numbers.
Well, that's very interesting because I don't know either.
Okay, well, let's go
So
ahead. I have the
thanks for
plays
good
here. Let's go ahead and do it as a team here, all right? The first pick was Indy -1.5. That covered, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
He had San Francisco, which I don't know the spread, but they lost anyway.
They
I
lost
believe
big.
They
I don't-
lost big.
Yeah.
They lost bad.
That covered.
It's 1-1. Philly -6.5.
Philly covered.
Philly covered?
Yeah.
Did they win by 7?
They killed. I thought they won 24-0.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So you're 2-1, and then the Giants -7.5 did
That
not cover. So there you go.
No.
You covered a different bet at 6.5, but the spread in the CBS Sports one was 7.5, so he barely missed that one. So yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, so 2-2 again. I think my last 4 weeks I was 2-2. Didn't lose any ground. Stayed over 500, and I'm happy with it. There's a lot of guys on national radio that are minus. They're like shooting 40%. So
Yeah.
not too bad.
No, Dad finishes at 37-31 in the regular season on best 4 plays. So very good record overall. So listen to the man during the playoffs. He knows what he's talking about. Now that we have less games, we're going to give him one main pick, like slam dunk pick of the week. It can be an over, it can be an under, it can be against a spread, money line, whatever the case may be. He's going to make one slam dunk pick, and he'll also give us a parlay.
Yeah, I
to
was going
go
to say,
with.
I need a big web parlay.
He'll give us a parlay, too. But by the way, that Giants game, I forgot they lost the game. Dallas scored late on a very interesting one knee in the end zone for Cole Beasley, which I don't know why it's 2 feet and one knee. That makes no sense to me still. I don't know why that's the rule. We were going back and forth about that.
They have it. This is the same thing, actually, that ended the Packers season last year. You remember the random wide receiver for the Panthers had like his right ass cheek on the edge of the goal line?
Yeah.
And they said it was inbounds. It's the same. The rule is any non-foot or hand is considered down, so any body part that is down counts as 2 feet.
To me, though, I mean, it's part of this. You get 2 feet, your feet are on your legs, your knees are on your legs, so if one knee's down, why doesn't it have to be 2 knees down? To me, that makes no sense, but that's just me.
Well,
I
but
think
if
it's mainly.
that's the rule.
Go ahead, Big Web.
If that's the rule, because I did not know that rule, and I'm sitting there going, okay, forget your feet. Whenever you catch a pass in the end zone, just jam your knee down into the carpet, and let's dislocate knees all throughout the NFL because people aren't trying to get 2 feet down.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that it was tough. I mean, to
I
see
think
that
they
happen.
do it to try and keep consistency with how you're down. Like if the outside of your shin hits when you're trying to stay balanced, you're still down. And I think they do that to try to stay consistent with what is in and what is out, if that makes any sense.
It makes sense. But to me, if he would have got one knee down and one elbow down, to me that's 2 things
Right.
down, which
You
is
need-
still the same as
yeah.
2 feet. But if you have one knee down and one elbow out of bounds, to me that's one thing in bounds, so you're out of bounds. That's just me.
So let me ask you this: if he would have just scraped his toe and then hit his knee, it would have been incomplete, right? According to your rule.
What do you mean?
'Cause
It doesn't matter because his knee counts as 2 feet anyway. So, you mean if his toe hit out of bounds
If
first?
his toe
though?
hit first,
If
yeah. No, if his toe hit inbounds first.
Inbounds first, because then you'd have to have 2 feet.
Not if your knee gets
Yeah,
down
not if
after,
your knee.
though.
Yeah, not if your knee's down. It'd be the same thing as if you got like 1 foot in, but then like half your body landed in bounds, like that
Okay.
Carolina player had his ass land in bounds, but then rolled out.
Now, what if Beasley, like a weird thing where his knee goes down, but then he somehow buckles his knee and his toe hits, and then he goes out of bounds?
Like, does his knee hit first?
No. Well, yes, but then the toe hits after.
It doesn't matter because if his knee hits in bounds, plays over. Because if his toe hits down first, though, he's out of bounds. But if his knee hits and then something hits out of bounds, it doesn't matter because he technically got 2 feet.
I hate that rule.
I know.
They need to
It's-
figure that out.
It's very technical, and they do have some issues. The next CBA is going to be so interesting. I don't know when that is.
Yeah.
But they're going to have some issues.
You know, a guy in Vegas had like $100,000 on that fucking game on the Giants, and then lost it on that knee, and he's screaming the same thing me and Dad are screaming.
I had $19 on it. I'm screaming.
Yeah. Well, it's a really interesting point you bring up, too, because gambling just became legal this year,
Right.
and it's going to continue to grow, and it's going to be a national thing. It's just a matter of time. I'm telling you, this is kind of a little hot takey. There's going to be a lawsuit. I don't know how it'll happen. I don't know how it's going to get tried. I'm not smart enough to figure any of that shit out. But you're right. People have too much money on this shit, and the refs are going to blow a call because the rules are too complicated now, and someone's going to lose
A
in the
lot of money.
thousands, in
Oh,
the
hundreds of
millions.
thousands,
Yeah.
Let me
And
tell
they're
you
gonna
how
sue.
the bookies work. But Zach, let me tell you how the bookies work, though. You know, there's a line on the game, and whatever that final is, whatever they post, whatever they say is an official final, you have never seen a final score be adjusted. So that's
Right.
what they go by. Whatever that final, they don't care.
I'm not saying it's on the bookies. I think someone's going to get pissed and sue the NFL.
You can't. Well, I guess if it's all legal, you could maybe. You can't. It's an act that's going on, and it's based on the final score. And I guarantee you, when you look at fine print on tickets, like when you buy a ticket at Caesar's Palace, you look at a fine print, it says stuff like that in there. I think I've read.
Yeah.
it before.
Like there's something about
Disclaimers and
yeah,
whatnot.
to cover everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not responsible for bullshit.
That's gonna that's gonna take a big time. Like, to be honest, though, we talked about adding different shows. Like, we're adding the girls thing after the football season, but also we're talking about adding a year-long gambling show. Or me and Big Web will be involved for sure, and Zach and other people, not just for football, but for college basketball, for whatever the case may be. We
March
may
Madness big for gambling.
Oh yeah, during the summer when like it's just like NBA Summer League and like MLB, we might take a little break from it. But overall, I mean, you got a lot of things you can talk about. So we'll see when we amp that up again. 2019 is gonna be a lot of fun for Brews on the Balcony, guys. And thank you for listening to Brews, and thank you for listening for the NFL show. But it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I think like you said, Zach, gambling is gonna get so big because it's gonna be. I would give it 5-10 years for it to be nationwide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be in every state, or at least the majority. And I think, that'll be a big time thing on this show. We already talk about it in the first place, but also talk about how, Scott Van Pelt says the bad beats. He always talks about that stuff on his show because there's a lot of things that happen in split seconds, and they say game of inches. If you got money on the line, that game of inches really comes into play. I mean,
I know.
legitimately, it's crazy.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, no shit. Dad knows about it from last Sunday. Again, guys, if you ever want to leave us a voicemail, 314-877-8597. You can always call us and leave us a voicemail. Who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl? We're going to go ahead and put out. So I just learned, and I've done this probably 2 years in a row, that I see brackets online, and I don't realize, again, that it depends on the seeding. So if the Colts would lose to the Texans this week, they would not play the Chiefs. The Texans would play the Patriots.
Right. They get reseeded after the first week.
So I get confused. I see brackets, and you think whoever wins that plays whoever they're showing the next matchup, but it's not correct. So I had a bracket out. We took it down. We're going to wait until the wild card week is over, and then we'll post our bracket. However, if you guys want to tell us your winners, we want to know Super Bowl winners now because we don't want to wait until you could get a couple more teams off your plate here. That's no fair. So we go ahead and give us your Super Bowl winners now. Before we get into the picks, boys, I want to do Super Bowl winners. I want to see what you guys think. Give me a Super Bowl matchup, Super Bowl champ, and also give me a final score.
Ooh. You'll have to pass me. I haven't even thought much about it.
All right, Big Web.
I think I know who I want, but it'd be interesting to see what the matchups are.
I want to put you guys on the spot because it makes it more fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we sure appreciate that.
Yeah, no joke. Good to see you, bud. Welcome to the show.
No, I think you kind of go with some streaky teams right now. New Orleans is rested a lot of people, and they've had a solid year, not only at home but on the road. I think New Orleans is going to be tough to beat. In the Rams are getting healthier, and they put a whooping on Frisco at the end of the season, which I think is they're challenged offensively right now, but Frisco's been a decent team. Shanahan had them going the last few weeks, but anyway, I think that could be your NFC matchup right there. If they do play each other, I think they would, right? And then I like the Colts. I like the Colts on the other side
To win the entire AFC, huh?
Well, playing the Pats, and man, I could see the Colts winning. I could see the Colts going to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
And if I have to pick it right now, I'd pick New Orleans going to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you really think the Colts will go to the Super Bowl, you need to put money on them. They're like plus 2,000 right now.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
6
all, I
seed.
swear. They're like, they're
That'd
the only ones that are worse odds than them are Philly right now. I believe Philly's plus 3,000 and Indy's like plus 2,500 or plus 2,000 on Bovada.
That's based on $100. It's 25 to 1 and 30 to 1.
Right. So, I mean, like, if you think about it, though, I mean, that's really good odds for a team that you think is going to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, I would definitely do that. The reason, obviously, that their odds are way up there is because they don't have a bye. You know what I mean? They have to play more games.
That and they're
play
the
the best
6th seed,
teams.
and
Yeah.
you think of the difference between even the 6 and the 5 between the Colts and the Chargers. They're going to have a tough road to hoe. Like you mentioned, even if you beat the Texans, then you're on the road to Foxborough, then you're maybe on the road to Arrowhead.
Right.
Not an easy task.
No, I would agree with Dad though. I do like Indy, not enough to put them in the AFC Championship, but I think they beat Houston. I really do. I think they have a good
I do
shot
too.
at beating Houston. I think Luck will move the ball, and he's just been playing lights out. I mean, he's been a very weird guy where he's like kind of a dark horse for MVP. If it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes, like he's up there. I mean, he's been playing that
absolutely.
well with no weapons. I mean, we talked about this. T.Y. Hilton, Eric Ebron at times, and then that's about it. I mean, so it's really impressive to see what they've done. But I agree with Dad about Indy winning that game. But then, like you said, if they win, they have to play Kansas City. Which is never easy in Arrowhead, but as Dad kind of mentioned too, and we talked about this earlier, their defense is suspect, but you put them with all them Chiefs fans, all the red around, it's going to be, I think that's something they can't handle. So I think Mahomes will win that one. I think then, this is tough for me.
I tell you what,
go
though,
ahead.
if I'm sorry, if you have Indy go to, I think Indy could beat New England. Would they go there? Or would
They
go
would
to
play the Chiefs
No, they
for
would
sure
play the
because
Chiefs
they're
100%.
the 6th seed.
Yeah, 6 seed to 1 seed. The only way they'd see the Patriots is in the AFC Championship.
Which, let's be real, they probably would.
Right.
Well, there you go. Now, if they somehow, I know this is wishing and dreaming, but they get by Kansas City, I could see them going all the way. Then at that point, Kansas City's their block, not New England. You guys agree with that?
I would
Semi.
have a lot more confidence, in them going to Foxborough after seeing them put a whooping on the Chiefs at
Yeah.
Arrowhead, but it's still Bill. And,
I disagree just because you're going to two of the toughest places in the league to play 2 weeks in a row. Your odds aren't great.
Yeah, agreed.
And then I also think the NFC is an absolute powerhouse this year. I think whoever makes it from the AFC will get not their asses kicked, but will lose. I think they'll lose the Super Bowl. I think this is the NFC's year, no matter who makes it.
Really?
Oh yeah, they got the strongest teams, I think. So anyway, the other matchup too, the Ravens and the Chargers, is very intriguing. I think the Chargers, if they win that game, and obviously if the Colts win, the Chargers will play in Foxborough. I think the Chargers could beat the Patriots, but I'm still going to take Tom. I'm taking Tom all the way to the Super Bowl. I think that it's their last year to really make a big Super Bowl run. I think the drop-off has been real. You've seen their gaps, and they're getting bigger.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think it would be Patriots on the AFC side. On the NFC side, I love the Saints. I really do. I think that the only obstacle they have is the Rams. I'm scared of Gurley. I'm scared of even that team in New Orleans away from home. I still think they'll run the ball well. I think Goff will kind of wake up a little bit. But at the end, I still think Breeze will get it done. I think they got too many weapons, and the home field advantage is huge. I mean, that absolutely just helped them so much. But the other side of it, too, is how many teams can really sneak up on them, like the damn Bears.
Yeah.
If the Bears can make it to the NFC Championship, beat the Rams, if they win their game, beat the Rams, and then go to the NFC Championship, their defense is good. I mean, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and say Saints-Patriots. Saints win, and I'm going to say they win 28-20. That's my prediction.
So I agree with you guys with the Saints. I don't see Drew Brees losing 2 games at home in this postseason. I don't think that there's any team on the NFC side that can really go into the Superdome and take them down, especially the way that they're riding. They have hit a little bit of a skid offensively. I think they've worked out those problems. They have a whole bye week, too, to prepare. I think Sean Payton's going to have just an awesome game plan these next couple weeks coming out. I think their only challenge, really, honestly, is the Rams. I think it would also really be interesting to see a team like the Bears play there with their awesome defense. And I just ultimately don't. I would not bet either of those teams in the Superdome, though. So I think Drew Brees, that's going to be the story of the year. I think they're going to make it out of the NFC. And looking at the AFC, it's a lot more wide open, I think, because of what you said. There's glaring holes in every team on the AFC side. The Chiefs have an awesome offense, totally dynamic, 32nd ranked defense. It's the worst defense in the NFL. The Patriots, like you mentioned, this Patriots team compared to their teams, their rosters in the past, it's not even close to what it's been.
Right.
You've seen the drop off with Tom. They don't have a lot of blue chip talent guys. Like, you don't look at their defense or any of their pieces on the offensive side and go, that guy's the best at his position. Gronk, a couple years ago, but even he can't run like he used to. He's not the same guy. We all know this. So there are big gaps in every one of the teams. So that said, I really do. I think the Chiefs are going to make it out of the AFC.
Wow. Okay.
I think that the offense is so good. Patty Mahomes is rolling. You never feel like they're ever going to lose a football game. I've watched them a lot, and never once this year, even when they did lose to the Rams, did I think they're going to lose. It's kind of the same way I have felt with the Rams and Saints to a degree, but I feel it with the Chiefs more. And so then you get them on a neutral field. Is it going to be the Chiefs or the Saints? The storybook ending would be for Drew Brees to win it. I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Wow. And then what's the score?
Oh, I don't know. It'd probably be pretty high scoring. I'd probably say 34-31.
34-31. All right, Deb, before we get to you, I was going to say my dark horse would be the Chargers to win the Super Bowl. I could definitely see
let's
that
all give a
happening.
dark horse.
They might honestly be the best team in the AFC very quietly. Again, just overall team-wise. And then on the NFC side, it's the Bears. I hate to say it. I hate Trubisky's guts. I hate his face. I want to punch him right in his stupid face. But they're pretty good, and the defense is really good. So that's my dark horses are the Bears and the Chargers.
Yep, my dark horse is the Bears too.
Yeah.
Yep, Bears and Chargers, or even the Ravens
Yeah.
because their
Lamar
defense.
Jackson, just the rookie quarterback thing just always gets me.
I
But
could not see him. You're right, really winning, but with the defense, never know.
Yeah, I already threw my dark horse out there. The Colts and the Bears for me.
yeah. The Bears could be very scary. If I saw the Bears in the NFC Championship,
would be
I would not be
surprised.
shocked. No.
Yeah.
So, Dad, what do you have for your Super Bowl pick? I forgot. I think you might have said it, but then also give us a final score and who wins.
All right. Let's go with the Saints. And I better stick with I don't know.
That sums up the entire season.
You asked me this right now. This is too early, man.
I told Zach, too. I honestly put myself on the spot as well.
Well, I tell you what, I am.
That's the best hot takes. Just knee-jerk reaction. Let's hear it.
That's right.
All right, I'm gonna let Kansas City beat the Colts. Put Kansas City in the Super Bowl against New Orleans. I got to give it to Breeze though for the win, and I'll say 32-25.
Wow. So there you go. I got the Saints. Dad's got the Saints, and you got the Chiefs. You and Dad have the same matchup. I have the Patriots over the Chiefs, and we all have the Saints. So if the Rams beat us, they beat us. But
so you had Saints-Pats?
I have Saints-Pats. You both have Saints-Chiefs.
For what
you
it's
have the
worth,
Chiefs, he
if
has
that's the
Saints.
matchup, I agree. I think the Saints would win that
Yeah,
one.
I agree with that. And the only reason I think the Pats, if they win, they'll sneak in. Like they will just last minute Tom Brady-esque. He's still got a little juice left in the tank. Not juice, a little gas left in the
And they're
tank.
so well coached.
And they're so well coached. And they've been there before plenty of times, and they've won plenty of times. That's just – and to me, Patrick Mahomes has not been on the big stage yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he has for big games, prime time, but playoffs, Tom Brady, AFC Championship, he hasn't been there yet.
Well, you're right, and that's been the narrative. He's lost, 4 out of his 5 biggest games, or that's what the mainstream media has been pumping in down the public's veins. And it's also, too, this is a very real thing. The Chiefs haven't won a playoff game in so long.
Right,
They
that's the
effed
thing.
it up and lost to the Titans last year.
Yeah.
So
Anything can happen. They could, like Dad said, they could lose to whoever. I mean, they could lose in the first round of the Colts. They could lose. It doesn't matter. And by the way, though, if the Texans win, I think the Chiefs are begging Indy to play. I mean, Indy's a tough team, but they do not want to see the Ravens or Chargers. I mean, especially the Chargers going
Yeah.
to KC. They've already beat them once this year. Like,
Right.
that'd get good. So.
The thing with KC too that I think gives them an advantage is because they're the 1 seed. I wouldn't love Mahomes and them on the road anywhere. I don't think anywhere. If you took them on the road to even Indy or the Chargers, I'd probably pick against them.
Well, you just took them in the Super Bowl.
That's
on the road.
That's neutral site though,
Okay, fair enough.
because the other team's on the road too, and it's going to be played in
just-
warm weather. But my point is that I just think that they're going to be too tough to beat in Arrowhead.
Just a couple quick things, guys. When you look at the Patriots, look for this, because we all agree Patriots are less of a team than they were last year and the last few years. So they've taken a step down. You watch Belichick. This guy's going to be gambling in the first half on his own 30, 4th and 3.
Yeah.
You watch this guy. You watch what this guy does. He's going to be pulling out all stops, and he's a gambler when he's got his back up against the wall, and I think he's going to have his back up against the wall this playoffs. So it'll be exciting to see what he pulls out of that.
Absolutely.
So with that being said,
Also,
go ahead.
Just one more thing. If for some way, somehow, the Patriots make it all the way to the Super Bowl, what a storyline Breeze against Brady.
Oh my God, yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
I mean, two guys that Brady probably won't be done. Breeze has another year on his contract, but I could see Breeze hanging it up after winning a Super Bowl. And an MVP maybe. I mean, it's going to go to Mahomes. It should go to
Yeah.
Mahomes, but you win a Super Bowl.
It's kind of unfortunate, actually.
Second to last year, you might not see Breeze anymore. I would retire after that one. That's what I would do. Again, your thoughts are welcome. 314-877-8597 at Balcony Brews Pod on all social media. Thank you guys for listening and following. So let's get to the matchups 30 minutes later. We did this. We talked about it. We had a lot of good discussions.
That was great.
That was a lot of fun. But now it's only 4 matchups. The wild card weekend. So, boys, this is where we get down to the nitty-gritty, all right? We talked about who we think's going to win. So let's go ahead and start in the first weekend. Indianapolis heads out to Houston. Texans are minus 2.5 points. Who do you got?
I'm going to take the Colts. I think, based on the discussion around the table, I think we're all rolling with the Colts. I actually had a lot tougher time with it, though. I don't think they're just going to come in and roll the Texans. They are 1-0-1. No, they're 1-1 because they could have got the tie and didn't. Their first matchup was when Frank Reich made that really weird decision to go for it, and that is what sent them to 1-5. And that was kind of the turning point for that franchise. They started winning after that. Then they get the win against Deshaun Watson, rather. I think Andrew Luck and the Colts are rolling a little bit too strong. He's been sacked, I think it was 8 times in the last 10 games. His offensive line is outstanding. They don't have a whole lot of dudes on the offensive side of the ball, skill guys, but Mack, Hines, Wilkins, they have a little running back by committee there. Like you said, they have Ebron rolling. Hilton is your deep threat, so they have a really good mix of offensive talent. And then on the defensive side, you have the NFL's leading tackler, should win Defensive Rookie of the Year in Darius Leonard. What a pick by Chris Ballard there. He's done a hell of a job. I ultimately think the Colts are just rolling a little bit too hot, and I don't think that the Texans are going to be able to hang with them. The other point I wanted to make about the Texans real quick, we haven't talked about them that much. Although they're favorites and they're home in this game, really top-heavy. They don't have a great offensive line. Lamar Miller's just a dude, and the guys you can name, they're awesome. Watt, Clowney, Hopkins, Watson. Outside of that, not a whole lot of talent on that team. And
Right.
Tyrann Mathieu's awesome too, but you get the point. They're very top-heavy.
Big Web?
I agree, Zach. Exactly. That's exactly how I would describe Houston. Now, this is going to be a hell of a matchup. I mean, Hilton versus Hopkins, those are probably 2 of the best wide receivers in the business. And Hilton, even though other teams concentrate on him, he can still get separation and makes himself a target on double teams. And the guy is so quick and so speedy, he can get separation. And when they do double team him, when they focus on him, those other smaller names get space and they move the football. So, I think Indy can make it happen there. I really like them, even though they're on the road. I think it's going to be a hell of a football game. But I think Indy will come out a winner.
Yeah, I'm going Indy as well, as we've already mentioned. Interesting tidbit here, though. When the Texans lost the first 3 weeks, their first win to start their 9-game winning streak was against the Indianapolis Colts. The team that knocked them off their 9-game winning streak was the Indianapolis Colts. So they got a lot of good history together. They've had close games, 24-21 loss in Week 14 to break that 9-game winning streak, 37-34 overtime win in Indianapolis to start the 9-game winning streak. It's going to be a fun game. I'm going to take Indy, though. I think they will eventually get it done. Luck's just been rolling, and we've seen, even with the 9-game winning streak, Houston has a little bit of a roller coaster thing going on here and there. But we're going to see what Deshaun Watson's all about. We're going to see what the young kid's got.
Yeah.
I think Andrew Luck, though, has the experience. He's got the talent, and he's shown it this year that he can do it with only a couple weapons. So I'm going to take the Colts as well. We move on to another Saturday game. That one's at 3:30 Central Time on Saturday. Got Seattle at Dallas as the Cowboys are minus 2.5 points, 7:15 Central Time. Who do you guys got?
I'm going to go ahead and take the Dallas Cowboys. This was the toughest game on the board for me. I think I was literally torn. I had no idea really who to pick. So I went with Dallas ultimately because of the home field advantage, and I do think that they're pretty special in that building in Jerry World. Also, too, because I had the Seahawks picked for a hot second when I first initially went through and did the selection. I don't buy the Seahawks. I think what they do, they're a running attack. You look at the guys they're facing on the other side of the ball. The front seven of the Dallas Cowboys is right up there with the best in football. Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, we already know they've done a fantastic job of drafting that side of the football. They have a really good pass rush. I don't think the Seahawks' success offensively is going to translate very well to this game. And additionally, I think the Cowboys can do enough well to beat the Seahawks on the other side of the ball. I think that while Seattle does have a good defense, I wouldn't be surprised to see them feed the ball to Zeke and have him have a little bit of success. And the Amari Cooper addition is just huge. I think that puts them over the top. So I'll roll with Dallas, even though I'm definitely not a Cowboys guy. I didn't even think that they were a very good team 4 or 5 weeks ago. I'll roll with them at home in this game, more because of the Seahawks, though, and their inabilities offensively than anything else.
Big Web.
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with you on this one, Zach. The Seahawks. Okay, if you look at Dallas and what they did a few weeks ago, well, during the middle of the year, the Cowboys were basically a mediocre football team.
I agree with that.
At home when they got their spark, it was against New Orleans, and they stopped New Orleans to a halt with their defense at home, and they played smash mouth football. They got everybody healthy, and like I said, the front seven shut them down. But that was against Drew Brees, a drop back passer. Russell Wilson and his feet are going to find a way to get open, and that extra dimension of him being able to run is going to move the football for the Seahawks. And I just don't think Dallas has enough on offense to stay with the Seahawks. It is a tight spread. It's going to be a tight game, but I see the Seahawks coming out on top just because that little bit of edge on mobility on their part.
I'm going to take Dallas. I get both sides. I did go back and forth in this game. I will say this is interesting stat for you. The Cowboys are 7-1 in the last 8 games, but all the games separated by 8 points or less.
They don't win big.
8 points is the biggest deficit or the biggest lead that they've had at the end of a game. And I mean, they've had so many close games together. So a lot of those could have gone the exact opposite. They could have lost 7 of 8. How close those games were. So with that being said, I know it's what ifs. You know, I'm just talking about how close these games have been. You see the Cowboys at 10-6, first in the NFC East. First of all, a weak division this year, and also the fact that they got lucky in a lot of games. So I'm going to take Dallas only for the reason that they're at home because, Zach, you make a good point. They're just a different team there. Zeke Elliott now the leading rusher in the NFL this year. They're going to feed him. They're going to run clock. I just think it's going to be a little bit too much for Seattle to kind of just be there. They're not great on the road. You know, they're not at home. If it was with the 12s, I'd take Seattle. This is all home field advantage for me. I'm going to take Dallas in this one. So it puts me and Zach with Dallas and Big Web with Seattle. Move on to Sunday games. The Los Angeles Chargers heading out to Baltimore. To me, I think this is the game of the week. Maybe Philly, Chicago. To me, this is the game of the week. The Baltimore Ravens are minus 2.5 points. The game's at noon on Sunday. What do you guys got?
All right, here's my surprise pick of the week. I think I'm going to be alone on this. I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens. They are minus 2.5. Now, to this point, I don't think the spread really matters a whole lot. They're all 2.5, right? Except for when we get down to the Chicago game.
Right.
So you're basically just picking a winner. At least that's how I approached it. I think the Ravens are going to win the football game. They shut down the Chargers in their matchup, and that was in LA, if I'm not mistaken. They're at home now. You add in the fact that it is a noon start. You add in the fact that the Chargers have to come from the West Coast to the East Coast, which is something that they have been terrible at historically. You add in the fact that they always choke in big games. That win against the Chiefs was the first big game I've seen them win basically ever. Phil Rivers, this is a huge game for him and his legacy. If he win, it's more too about the matchup than it is about the Chargers. I think that the Ravens at home with that defense is going to just be really, really, they're a tough out at home with the defense. And so that ultimately I think puts them over the edge. They have just a fantastic rushing attack. Now what worries me is there's going to come a point in time where it's going to be 3rd and 7 and you're going to have to trust Lamar Jackson to complete a pass. Can he do that long term? I don't think so. They're basically running a high school offense. It's Army on steroids, as we mentioned a month or so ago when he took over the job. But the rushing attack is outstanding. You have to tip your hat to Lamar Jackson for his success so far. He does look like just a total athlete out there running the football. And it's added a dimension to the offense that I think has helped them control the clock a little bit better and play to the defense better than Flacco did.
Dead.
I'll tell you what, Zach, I'm with you on this one. You're not alone at all. I'll tell you what, the Ravens and their defense at home should be able to take care of Rivers. You know, you look at the Chargers playoff football. Whenever they would succeed in playoff football, it would always be because they were at home.
Yeah.
In a stadium in San Diego where the people loved them and they were moving the football at home and winning at home in the playoffs. But they don't even have a home stadium. They're not even home at all.
Yeah.
Not even close to home. And so here they are on the road, and I just think, you know, Lamar Jackson's going to be able to do his thing, like you said, and I believe Baltimore's defense is going to be able to shut them down and then blitz them and get some pressure on Rivers, and he won't be able to pull out a miracle because he's not in the friendly confines. So give me Baltimore here.
So, yeah, everything Dad said, I agree with, but the complete opposite reasoning, because that's why I put it in favor of the Chargers. Chargers are 7-1 on the road this year. Ties a franchise record, and the fact that they don't have a home stadium and don't have normal fans like they're supposed to,
everything's a road game.
Has helped them be a road game. They're ready for this game, man. They're ready to rock and roll. 7-1 on the road. I mean, they played at tough places, at Denver, at Kansas City, at Pittsburgh. I mean, at Seattle. I mean, all these big time wins. I mean, to me, this tells me that they're ready to win. At Buffalo too, earlier on in the season. And they score points. They're scoring 20, 30-plus points against these teams. I know that the Baltimore Ravens are maybe the best defense they've seen all season now. A tough one. It's playoff contention. You add that and the fact, though, the Chargers have been a good road team this year, and the fact you got a rookie quarterback in Lamar Jackson who, again, everything can change when you're on the big stage.
Absolutely.
This is a big-time game. It's going to be fun to watch, but this is the Chargers game to win. I mean, this is absolutely I wouldn't call it a full slam dunk pick. It's going to be a 3-point game, but I think LA is going to win the game outright, and they're going to get 2.5, just going to be icing on the cake, so I'm going to take the Los Angeles Chargers.
I'll tell you this, too. If the Chargers do lose this game, that's going to be a real disappointing loss.
Oh, my
for
God.
them.
Well, think about it, too. If Kansas City loses in Week 17 and the Chargers win, the Chargers have a first-round bye. They are the number 1 seed.
Can you
think
believe
about
that?
I mean, that's why it is so crazy to think that they have this matchup where they could be out in the first round or a couple points away last week from being a number 1 seed.
Yeah.
It's unreal how this league is.
And I do think that the Chargers have the better football team, which is kind of insane but when you put that logic together. But it's for the reasons I mentioned. I don't trust them one bit.
I don't blame you. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to be the best game of the week. So Dad and Zach have Baltimore, and I have the Los Angeles Chargers. The final game we have for this wild card week, we go to Chicago as the Philadelphia Eagles are heading out to the Bears. Bears 12-4, Eagles 9-7 have been on fire, and the Bears are minus 6.5 points. I'm going to go ahead and go first here. I'm going Philly. I think Chicago will win the game. I still think they're a possible dark horse for the Super Bowl, as I mentioned earlier. But I think it's going to be close enough where Foles is going to keep them close. It's going to be a 3-4 point game. Very weird score. I think 6.5 is too much on the spread. Chicago will win the game. They will move on to the next round. They deserve to. They have the better team. But I think Foles will find a way to score more than Chicago's used to seeing people score on them at home. So give me Philly to cover the spread, but Chicago wins the game.
See, this is the one game this weekend, right, where you have to do some extra thinking. You have to determine who you think's going to win the playoff game. Then you have to determine, boy, do I like them enough to lay 6.5? And I do like the Bears enough. Like you said, the defense, Soldier Field is just going to be a madhouse. You couple that with the fact that, like you said, Nick Foles, the backup, although he is not your regular backup, I still don't think he possesses anywhere near the talent that Carson Wentz does. And he may even well be a better fit for the offense, as we've seen over the last couple weeks. But I think the Bears are going to just suffocate them. I think that they will cover the 6.5. I initially had that same mindset you did. I had picked Philly initially. Then I was like, you know what? I don't think the spread's going to come into this. I think the Bears are either going to win by 7 or more, or they're going to lose. And so I'm rolling with Matt Nagy and the Chicago Bears. They have it rolling. There's something a little bit magic about that team. Like you said, wouldn't be surprised if we see them in the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl one bit.
And by the way, I changed my pick. I had Chicago and I went Philly last second.
Okay.
Just thinking about it. So I have gone back and forth on it.
Me too.
I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I like the Bears here. I do think it's a very, very tough number, 6.5. Been going teeter-totter back and forth on this thing. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bears to cover the game, hoping on a defensive score. I think it's going to be a hell of a football game. I think it's going to be exciting, and I got to give it to the Bears just because of that defense and just because of that, like you said, I think it's going to be a frenzy up there. They finally got themselves a football team, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'll take the Bears.
Is Lane Johnson healthy for the Eagles?
I don't know. I haven't heard
I
from
think
him.
he is. I hadn't seen anything that he was out, but
That could make
Lane
an impact.
Johnson versus Khalil Mack. That's
Could be a fun
gonna be
matchup.
awesome.
Absolutely. So Dad and Zach have the Bears. I have the Philadelphia Eagles. By the way, boys, quick stat for you to make your sweat a little bit. Nick Foles is 12-4 from December through February since 2013. He's Mr.
and
Clutch,
he's only
baby.
played 20 games.
Clutch Gene.
I know, Mr. Clutch Gene. You gotta love it. So there you go, guys. That's our picks for the Wild Card Weekend. Before we wrap it up, we have Big Web's #1 slam dunk pick of the week for this playoff Wild Card Week, and also he will give you a big time parlay. Dad, what do you got this week?
Gentlemen, I'll tell you something. When you look at all the games and everything we discussed there, we just talked about Chicago and how that spread's kind of an iffy number. We talked about the Chargers and the Ravens, how it goes kind of different ways on that. We're disagreeing there. The other game, what was the other Saturday?
Dallas, Seattle.
Dallas, Seattle.
Yeah, right. Dallas, Seattle. I think that could go either way. But the game that feels the best, where you get the gut feeling, which is the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
The Indianapolis Colts going in and taking that win. I'll take that as the pick of the week right there.
And that's the only pick that we've all agreed on
Yep.
in this entire thing. So
There you go.
there you go. All right. And the parlay, do you have it all set, or did I put you on the spot?
No, I got it. Here's
right.
the thing, boys. You got both Saturday games are 1.5 points. You got to take Indy there. So here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a 4-way modified parlay. Okay.
So teaser,
Okay,
basically.
Yeah. So you take both the dogs there getting 1.5 points on Saturday, and you go ahead and take the Baltimore Ravens minus the 2.5 on Sunday, and you modify the Bears down. You buy, what is it at 6.5 now? So you'd buy 4 points, and a little earlier I checked, on $100 you get 510 on this bet.
Okay, so you have Indy plus, so they're 1.5 on a different betting site because CBS Sports has them at 2.5. So you're saying the dogs on Saturday, which is Indy and Seattle, I believe.
Yep.
Then they are both
Indy and
getting 1.5.
Right. Indy and Seattle. You take both of those. You take the Ravens, and
Buy down the
and then
Bears.
you take the Bears, and you got yourself a 4-team modified parlay. Pays 510 on 100. I got one more for you.
Okay.
If you go ahead and take those same teams and make the Saturday games up to 3 points. Okay, I'm sorry. The first bet I talked to you about pays 750 on 100.
Oh wow. Okay.
If you take those same Saturday teams and take them up to 3 points, leave the Ravens at 2.5, and you take the Bears down to 2.5, it pays 510 on 100.
Wow.
So there's my bets.
All right, so you are taking, just to kind of recap. So, guys, again, this is usually on a lot of betting sites. You can buy points, as Big Web said. It just takes your odds down. So he has a four-way parlay of Indianapolis and Seattle, plus 1.5 for Indy, plus 1.5 for Seattle on Saturday. Baltimore minus 2.5, and then Chicago, which was minus 6.5. You buy him down 4 points to 2.5. It's a $100 bet, pays out $750 if you do a $100 bet. And the same parlay, but you add Indy plus 3, so they're plus 4.5. Seattle plus 3, now they're plus 4.5. So then, again, you have Indy plus 4.5, Seattle plus 4.5. Still have Baltimore minus 2.5. And then are you keeping Chicago at 6.5? Is that what you said?
So buy Chicago down to 2.5.
Buy them down to 2.5 again. Okay, so same parlay as the first one, just add 3 to Indy and Seattle on that one.
Well, Indy and Seattle are at 3, so you're buying a 1.5 on each.
Gotcha. Oh, I thought you said they were 1.5.
They were 1.5.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You're putting them up to 3, not adding 3. So it's not 4.5. It's just
that's why.
Gotcha.
Right. That's why that pays less money than down to 5-10, but you're still getting 5-1 on your money and getting up. I think those are field goal games at worst, and I think those teams are going to win outright. So I like that pick a lot.
So there you go. If you got a couple $100 to put on, once again I'll go over it because I know it's a lot of things. 4-way parlay: Indy plus 1.5, Seattle plus 1.5, Baltimore minus 2.5. Buy Chicago down from 6.5 to 2.5. $100 pays you $750. The next one, you have the same parlay, except Indy and Seattle, you buy a 1.5, which puts them to plus 3. And then Chicago, put them down to 2.5. Baltimore still minus 2.5. That will go ahead and put you at a $100 bet to $510 on the buyout, on the payout.
Correct.
There you go. Zach, you got some final thoughts?
Yeah, Big Web, I had a question for you on your first parlay. Would you suggest that people maybe wait to place this bet? Because I'm looking at the games. I don't see any of the first 3 lines really moving at all throughout the week. The line I could see moving, though, is the Bears. I could see that line shrinking with everybody betting Philly because the spread's too big. Would you suggest maybe waiting and seeing if that will go down to then not have to buy as many points? You get a little bit better odds?
It's really too much risk. I mean, you're not gonna gain that much by waiting. You know what I mean? The odds don't. The points are nice, but the odds don't change. In the money that much.
Right.
Okay. When you're betting $100 and you're going to go from 550 pay off down to 510, it's just not that much difference.
Especially not for the risk, because let's say all of a sudden Dak tweaks his back walking down the stairs, then the spread in the other game goes way one direction.
Yep.
Good deal.
I like those numbers where they sit, and I look at those numbers. It's going to be an exciting week of football.
Oh, hell yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, again, we told you about the parlays. If you didn't hear us, we said it 4 times. Just hit rewind. It's a podcast. You'll figure it out. But Big Web's wild card slam dunk pick of the week, Indy plus 2.5. That'll do it, boys. Great fun. I had a lot of fun on this one.
Yeah.
Usually, I figured that we'd have to fill a lot of time. We still almost went an hour. I mean, just kind of bullshitting. But we had a lot of good stuff to talk about. I mean, a lot of playoff stuff coming up. It's going to be fun.
And we'll have probably about the same amount of things to talk about next week, recapping the action. Then, like we said, we most likely aren't even going to see the Super Bowl champ play this weekend.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, we got a lot more to talk about. Again, guys, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, 5-star review. We appreciate you guys. Tell your friends at Balcony Brews Pod on social media. We would love to hear from you as well at 314-877-8597. Big Web, final thoughts?
Gentlemen, grab yourself a cold beer, turn on the fireplace, turn it up loud. Let's have some fun.
Let's do it. Wild Card Weekend is upon us. So for Big Web, for Zach, I'm TJ Weber. You guys have a great week. Good luck this week, and we'll see you next week.